let's talk about finding themes. As you know, finding theme is very similar for every kind of text. And they're used for both fiction and non-fiction text. They both need to analyze the characters, events, and details to find a theme or a life lesson. So that's it. Of course, before starting finding theme, we have to understand what the definition of it first. Theme is the big message that a text is trying to convey, which in a nonfiction text, the author used descriptions of people, events, idea, or concept in order to emphasize the theme or the message he or she is trying to convey. Now, of course, a lot of people can, think misunderstood, and they said that in one story there can only be one theme. But of course, there can be multiple themes as long as there are many excerpts, many, plot and subplot. The author can develop many themes throughout the text through descriptions of people, events, idea, or concept. So, for example, today we'll analyze different excerpts from Titanic to find theme. First, excerpt 1. Speaking of the building of the Titanic, so it is first off before even go on the boat, starting an adventure. Okay, so talking about it, it would seem most impious blasphemy that man should fashion this most monstrous and ponderable of all his creation into likeness of thing that could float upon the yielding water. The author used some powerful word in these sentences. So, reading this excerpt, number 1, you can clearly understand of the building of the Titanic. Here, it seemed like the author used some powerful word in this sentences, as you can see, which the word impious, which means showing a lack of respect for God, or blasphemy, which means to claim the attributes of God. Here, the author begins by saying that it seemed like blasphemy to build such a large ship. And so it revealed a little how the author feel about creation of the Titanic, so the possible theme could be So here, after reading this, you can see the possible theme could be only the foolish would try it out with God. That's it for excerpt 1. But like I said, there can be multiple themes, not only one. So we'll move on to excerpt 2, excerpt 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here, excerpt 2, which is the speaking of the Titanic maiden voyage. No wonder they were proud. No wonder they were preoccupied with the source of their pride. Her designer believed that no possible accident short of an explosion in her body could sink her. So here, the author tells us about the pride of the designer. They were so preoccupied with their pride that they didn't think the Titanic could sink unless there was an explosion in her boilers, which doesn't happen. But it hit an iceberg. We get a strong, of course. Here, we can get a strong feeling about how foolish the author are to felt like these builders were to have so much pride in the Titanic. So here, you can see that a possible theme could be pride goeth before the fall. That's for excerpt 2. Let's move on to excerpt 3 to find another theme. Now, when the ship warned the Titanic about when ships warned the Titanic about the ice, the guy who are in charge of this, don't care about it. Here, another ship say that April ice very far south. Say another ship, and then Philip tap out his okay OM, which is kind of like a Cockney marketing for all right, old man. Okay, old man. Yeah. So here the authors show the careless disregard of Marconi operator who respond okay OM, which is to the warning about the ice. The ice would ultimately sink of the Titanic, which again underscored the pride of people involved with the Titanic. So, the possible theme here could be, warning that go unheeded cannot save you. Let's move on to excerpt 4. After the Titanic sank, we dare not linger here, even in imagination. Dare not speculate it. Dare not look closely, even with mind eyes, at this poor human agony. So, the grim of total of the figure stood out in appealing significance. 703 saved, 1,503 lost. So here, the author keep building on the concept of how prideful the people were about the Titanic, and then the tragedy of this paragraph kind of add another angle to the concept. So possible theme that include both the pride and the tragedy could be the blindness of false pride that will lead us beyond reason and then leave us to face terrible cause. I'm not saying that feeling pride is not good. You see, when we create it like something powerful, something great, we can feel pride. But here, a lot of people here feel too much pride, and they think that it is they think that they are too much, that it is so important. Feeling too much pride can cause feeling this kind of, feel too much pride that lead us to say false thing, and so it repay back with this consequences. And now let's talk about the time when Titanic sank. Now, what the reason why Titanic sank? Okay, so the Titanic here was in more sense than one of full paradise. So there's nothing that man can build that nature cannot destroy, but men can easily forget this. So they wish to forget. They've wished to forget it. And the beautiful and comfortable and readable equipment of this ship helped them forget it. Of course, here the author analyzed why the people aboard the Titanic were misled to thinking that it couldn't be sunk. But then he also gave us a lesson that we can use as a theme, quoting directly from his word. Quoting directly from his word, there is nothing that man can build that nature cannot destroy. So that's it. If we can build something, nature can definitely destroy it. We can build great buildings. We can build great building. We can create beautiful sculptures. But then the storm came, the rain came, the earthquake came, and they all destroyed it. there's nothing that us people can build that nature cannot destroy. We can build it, and they can destroy it. Now let's talk about these two last excerpts. Excerpt 6, which is talking about the heroes of the hour. Okay, in that last half hour before the end, which is like before everything, and before like the Titanic all sink down, when every one of the ship was under the sentences of death, modern civilization went through a severe test. In such a moment, all artificial bonds are kind of like useless, because it is what men are in themselves that determine their conduct. And this glimpse and conduct like this are proof of not superiority of one race over another, but that in the core of human nature itself, that there's abiding sweetness and soundness that feel cannot embitter nor death corrupt. So here, this excerpt you can notice this excerpt focus more on the power of human nature even in times of tragedy. We can quote the author word directly as a theme. In the core of human nature itself, there's a bidding sweetness and soundness that fear cannot embitter nor death corrupt. That is the theme. And now excerpt 7, the last excerpt, which is the last paragraph of Titanic. The twin gray horse are still at their work in Belfast Lodge, which is another ship greater and stronger even than the lost one, and it is rising within the cathedral scaffoldings. And the man who built her, companions of those who the Titanic spilled into the sea, speak among themselves and say, "This time we shall prevail." So here the author goes back to shipyard. He described in the beginning of the text, he uses symbolically show that cycle is unending. His word, "This time we shall prevail," show how the nature of man pushes him to never give up. So the possible theme here could be the human spirit is indomitable and undefeatable. Even though we fail, a lot of people died, but of course, human spirit is indomitable and undefeatable. We still created. We still take risks, even though a lot of people died in ships like this. So, as you see, theme here must be expressed as a complete sentences, so it cannot be a word or idea that hint at a theme without expressing the full idea about the word or phrases. Like, for example, nature is often more powerful than humans. We can say like that, but if we only have the power of nature, then it wouldn't be make much sense. It's just saying the power of nature. It is not saying the power of nature is doing something. We have to make it out clearly that the power of nature is often more powerful than human. Also, theme can also apply to life, because the theme or lesson has to be true in real life. If not, then the lesson are only applied to the story or to the text. That it is not considered to be a theme because, for example here, Philip was foolish to be prideful. Well, this would be a bad example. Instead of saying that, we can say a moment of pride can cause a lifetime regret. So it is like saying for everybody, not only for Phillips. Now, I just want to repeat it again that remember that a text can have more than one theme, and any life lesson that can support or prove with a text could also be a theme. So remember this, a theme is a statement that expresses a life lesson that you can learn from the text. I want you to remember this, so anytime you're in a test and they ask you to look for a theme, you can definitely do this.